My name is DeMarco Jenkins, and I'm about to tell you the story of how my Auntie Loretta almost destroyed my relationship, my dignity, and possibly my entire bloodline in one Sunday dinner. But before we get there, you need to understand something about black families. We don't do quiet disagreements. We don't do passive-aggressive notes on the refrigerator. No, when there's beef in a black family, everybody knows about it. The neighbors know about it, and somehow your third cousin twice removed in Atlanta knows about it too. Now, I met Sienna at a networking event downtown. She was standing by the vegan appetizer table, and I was trying to figure out what the hell a chickpea puff was. She laughed at my confusion. We started talking, and 3 months later, I was in deep. Like, delete your dating apps, meet the parents, start looking at furniture together deep. Sienna was everything. Smart, funny, gorgeous, ambitious. She had her own marketing firm, drove a Tesla, and could quote Maya Angelou and Megan Thee Stallion in the same conversation. There was just one small problem. Sienna was vegan, not like I'm trying it out vegan, not like I'm doing this for a month vegan. No, Sienna was a full-blown, card-carrying, won't even eat honey because it exploits bees type of vegan. She had been vegan for 5 years, and she took it seriously, real seriously. Now, I want to be clear. I respected it. I supported it. I even tried some of her cashew cheese situation, and honestly, it wasn't terrible. I started eating more plant-based meals with her, discovered that jackfruit tacos were actually pretty good, and learned that nutritional yeast was a thing that existed. I was growing, expanding my horizons, becoming a better man. But then came the Sunday I decided it was time for Sienna to meet my family, specifically my Auntie Loretta. Let me tell you about Auntie Loretta. This woman is 63 years old, stands about 5'2", weighs maybe 130 pounds soaking wet, but has the presence of a linebacker and the attitude of someone who has never lost an argument in her entire life. She raised 4 kids by herself after her husband passed, worked 2 jobs for 20 years, and still found time to be the matriarch of our entire family. When Auntie Loretta speaks, people listen. When Auntie Loretta cooks, people eat. And when Auntie Loretta decides she doesn't like something, Lord help whatever that something is, Auntie Loretta's Sunday dinners were legendary in our family. Every week, without fail, she would cook enough food to feed a small army. We're talking fried chicken that could make you weep. Macaroni and cheese so good it should be illegal. Collard greens that had been simmering since Saturday night. Cornbread that melted in your mouth. Candied yams that could convert atheists. Potato salad that people fought over. And her famous peach cobbler that had grown men begging for seconds. These weren't just meals. They were cultural events. They were therapy sessions. They were family reunions that happened every single week. I had been hyping up Auntie Loretta's cooking to Sienna for weeks. I told her about the legendary dinners, the love that went into every dish, the way the whole family gathered together. What I didn't tell her was that I hadn't yet mentioned to Auntie Loretta that Sienna was vegan. I know, big mistake, huge. But in my defense, I was trying to figure out the right way to break the news that my girlfriend didn't eat anything that came from an animal to a woman whose entire identity was wrapped up in cooking meat-based dishes that had been passed down through 4 generations. The Thursday before the big Sunday dinner, I finally worked up the courage to call Auntie Loretta. Hey, Auntie. So I'm bringing someone special to dinner on Sunday. Oh, Lord, is this the girl you've been talking about? The one with the fancy car? Yes, ma'am. Her name is Sienna, and she's amazing. You're going to love her. I better. You know I don't have time for any foolishness, DeMarco. Is she a good girl? Does she go to church? Does she have a job? Yes, Auntie. She's great. She has her own business and everything. There's just one thing I need to tell you. What's that, baby? Well, Sienna is vegan. There was a silence on the other end of the line. Not a normal silence. The kind of silence that comes before a storm. The kind of silence that makes you check if your phone dropped the call. Auntie? You there? Vegan. Yes, ma'am. She doesn't eat meat or dairy or eggs or anything that comes from animals. So what does she eat? Air? Grass? No, Auntie. She eats vegetables and grains and legumes and legumes? Boy, what in the world is a legume? like beans and lentils and stuff. So she doesn't eat my fried chicken? No, ma'am. She doesn't eat my macaroni and cheese? No, ma'am. She doesn't eat my collard greens with the ham hocks? Definitely not the ham hocks, Auntie. Another long silence. DeMarco, baby, are you sure about this girl? Yes, Auntie. I'm very sure. She's the one. I can feel it. Well, you bring her on Sunday. I'll make sure there's something she can eat. The way she said it should have been my first warning. It wasn't warm. It wasn't welcoming. It was the kind of tone that prosecutors use when they say, "No further questions, Your Honor." Sunday rolled around faster than I wanted it to. I picked up Sienna from her place, and she looked absolutely beautiful in a yellow sundress that made her glow. She was nervous, which was rare for Sienna. This woman had given presentations to Fortune 500 companies without breaking a sweat, but meeting my Auntie Loretta had her fidgeting with her necklace the entire drive over. "Babe, you're going to do great," I said, squeezing her hand. "My family is going to love you. Are you sure? What if they think I'm weird because I'm vegan?" "Nobody's going to think you're weird. Well, maybe a little weird, but in a good way. Plus, I already told Auntie Loretta, so she knows to make you something special." "You told her? What did she say?" "She was very understanding and supportive." This was a lie. A big, fat, relationship-ending type of lie. But I was in too deep now. We pulled up to Auntie Loretta's house, a modest brick home with a perfectly manicured lawn and a porch that had seen decades of family gatherings. I could already see cars lining the street, my cousin Jamal's Impala, my Uncle Raymond's truck, my sister Keisha's Honda. The whole family was here. As we walked up to the door, I could smell the food from outside. That intoxicating aroma of soul food that makes you want to slap somebody's grandmother. I saw Sienna's nose wrinkle slightly. She was probably picking up on all the meat-based scents. I squeezed her hand tighter. "Remember, just be yourself. They're going to love you." I knocked on the door, even though I had a key. This was a special occasion. The door swung open, and there stood Auntie Loretta in her Sunday best, a purple dress with matching shoes and a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "DeMarco, come here, baby." She pulled me into a hug that smelled like cocoa butter and Chanel No. 5. Then she turned to Sienna, and I watched her eyes do a full scan, head to toe, in about 2 seconds flat. "And you must be Sienna, the vegan." The way she said "the vegan" made it sound like a disease or a criminal record. "Yes, ma'am, it's so nice to meet you. DeMarco has told me so much about you." Sienna extended her hand, and Auntie Loretta looked at it for a second before shaking it. Not a warm, welcoming handshake. More like she was checking the firmness of a fish at the grocery store. "Well, come on in. Everybody's in the living room." We walked into the house, and immediately, all conversation stopped. My cousin Jamal was on the couch, halfway through a chicken wing. My sister Keisha was holding her baby. My Uncle Raymond was in his usual spot by the window. My other cousins, Tasha and Brianna, were sitting at the dining table. Everybody turned to look at us like we had just walked into a surprise party. "Everybody, this is Sienna," I announced, trying to sound confident. "Hey, Sienna," they all said in unison, but I could see the curiosity in their eyes. They had heard about the vegan girlfriend. The legend had preceded her. "Hi, everyone. It's so nice to meet you all," Sienna said, waving. She had that professional smile on, the one she used at networking events. "So you the one that don't eat meat?" Jamal asked, still holding his chicken wing like it was evidence in a court case. "Yes, I follow a plant-based diet. I have for about 5 years now." 5 years? Girl, you mean to tell me you ain't had chicken in 5 years? This came from my cousin Tasha, who looked genuinely distressed by this information. "No, not chicken or any other meat, but I don't miss it at all. There are so many delicious plant-based alternatives now." "Alternatives?" Uncle Raymond chimed in. "What kind of alternatives we talking about?" "Well, there's tempeh, tofu, seitan, jackfruit." "Jackfruit? Like the fruit?" Keisha asked. "Yes. When it's young and unripe, it has a texture similar to pulled pork. It's really good in tacos or..." "Baby, ain't nothing similar to pulled pork except pulled pork," Uncle Raymond said, and everybody laughed. Sienna laughed too, but I could see the slight discomfort in her eyes. All right, Auntie Loretta interrupted. "Y'all leave this girl alone. Dinner will be ready in about 20 minutes. Sienna, honey, come help me in the kitchen. I felt Sienna's hand tighten around mine. She didn't want to go alone. I didn't want her to go alone. But you don't say no to Auntie Loretta. Ever. I'll come too, I said. No, you won't. You stay here with your cousins. I want to get to know Sienna. Woman to woman. This was a trap. I knew it was a trap. Sienna knew it was a trap. But what could we do? Sienna gave me a brave smile and followed Auntie Loretta into the kitchen. I sat down next to Jamal, my heart pounding. Man, you look nervous as hell, Jamal said, offering me his bag of chips. I am nervous as hell. You know how Auntie Loretta gets. Yeah, I remember when I brought Destiny over. Auntie Loretta asked her if she knew how to cook, and when Destiny said she mostly ordered DoorDash, I thought Auntie was going to have a heart attack right there. What happened in the kitchen? I asked. Man, Auntie Loretta gave her a 30-minute lecture on the importance of knowing your way around a kitchen. Destiny never came back. That's not helping, Jamal. In the kitchen, Sienna was trying her best to make a good impression. Auntie Loretta had her chopping vegetables for a salad, and she watched every single cut like she was a surgeon supervising a medical student. So, Sienna, DeMarco tells me you have your own business. Yes, ma'am. I own a marketing firm. We specialize in digital strategy for small businesses. That's nice. That's real nice. So you make good money? I do all right. I'm blessed to be doing something I love. And this vegan thing, how long you been doing that? About 5 years now, ma'am. And why did you start? You got some kind of medical condition or something? No, ma'am. It was a combination of health reasons, environmental concerns, and animal welfare. I watched a documentary that really opened my eyes, and I just couldn't contribute to that industry anymore. Auntie Loretta stopped stirring her collard greens and turned to look at Sienna full on. So you telling me that eating meat is bad for the environment? Well, industrial animal agriculture does have a significant carbon footprint. It's one of the leading causes of deforestation and water pollution. I'm not trying to convert anyone or judge anyone's choices. It's just what I personally decided for myself. And you think people who eat meat are hurting animals? I think the factory farming system is cruel, yes. But again, I'm not here to judge anyone. I just make my own choices. Auntie Loretta turned back to her greens, but Sienna could tell she had said something wrong. The temperature in the kitchen had dropped about 20 degrees. Well, honey, let me tell you something. My mama taught me how to cook, and her mama taught her. We've been cooking this food for generations. This ain't just food. This is heritage. This is culture. This is love. When I cook my fried chicken, I'm cooking the same recipe my grandmother used to cook for me when I was a little girl. When I make my collard greens, I'm using the same pot my mama used. This food connects us to our ancestors, to our history. You understand what I'm saying? Yes, ma'am. I completely respect that. Food is definitely an important part of culture and family. I would never want to disrespect your traditions. Good. Because DeMarco, he's my favorite nephew. Don't tell the others, but he is. And I want to make sure whoever he's with understands where he comes from and what's important to him. I do understand, ma'am. And I care about DeMarco very much. We'll see about that. Back in the living room, I was getting the 3rd degree from my cousins. So, D, you really serious about this girl? Tasha asked. Yeah, I am. She's special. But she don't eat meat though, Brianna added, like I hadn't noticed. How that work when y'all go out to eat? We go to restaurants that have vegan options. Or we go to vegan restaurants. It's not that complicated. But do you eat vegan too now? Keisha asked, bouncing her baby on her knee. Sometimes, when I'm with her, yeah. But I still eat meat too. She doesn't force anything on me. Man, I don't know if I could do it, Jamal said, shaking his head. Give up ribs? Give up chicken wings? Give up Auntie Loretta's Sunday dinner? That's asking a lot. Nobody's asking me to give up anything. Sienna respects my choices, and I respect hers. But what if y'all get married and have kids? This was from Uncle Raymond, who had been quiet until now. What they gonna eat? Y'all gonna raise vegan babies? We haven't really talked about that yet, Uncle Raymond. We're taking things one step at a time. That's what they all say. Then next thing you know, you at the courthouse signing papers and you realize you married someone who thinks bacon is murder. Everybody laughed, but I could feel my anxiety rising. This wasn't going well. And Sienna had been in that kitchen with Auntie Loretta for way too long. Finally, Auntie Loretta emerged from the kitchen. "Dinner's ready. Everybody wash your hands and come get a plate." We all filed into the dining room, where Auntie Loretta had set up her usual feast. The table was practically groaning under the weight of all the food: fried chicken, baked chicken, barbecue ribs, macaroni and cheese, collard greens, green beans, cornbread, dinner rolls, potato salad, coleslaw, candied yams, and her famous peach cobbler for dessert. It was a sight to behold, a delicious, artery-clogging, absolutely non-vegan sight to behold. Sienna stood there, looking at the table, and I could see her trying to figure out what she could eat. The green beans had bacon in them. The collard greens had ham hocks. The cornbread was made with buttermilk. The rolls had butter. The potato salad had eggs and mayonnaise. The candied yams had butter and marshmallows. Everything was contaminated, from her perspective. "Auntie," I whispered, pulling her aside, "what can Sienna eat?" "Oh, don't worry, baby. I made her something special. It's in the kitchen." She disappeared and came back with a plate. On it was a small portion of plain white rice, some steamed broccoli, and a sad-looking salad with no dressing. "Here you go, honey. Made it special, just for you." Sienna looked at the plate, then at me, then back at the plate. I could see her trying to maintain her composure. "Thank you, Mrs. Loretta. This is very kind of you." We all sat down, and Auntie Loretta said grace. "Lord, thank you for this food we're about to receive, for the nourishment of our bodies. Thank you for family, for health, and for bringing new people into our lives, even if they have some interesting dietary choices. Amen." "Amen," everyone echoed. Then we started eating, and it was like a scene from a nature documentary. Forks scraping, plates clanking, people groaning with pleasure as they tasted Auntie Loretta's cooking, and there was Sienna, sitting next to me, slowly eating her plain rice and unseasoned broccoli, watching everyone else enjoy this incredible spread of food. "This chicken is ridiculous, Auntie," Jamal said, his mouth full. "I swear, every time I eat your food, I feel like I'm going to heaven." "That mac and cheese, though," Tasha added. "Auntie, you got to teach me how to make this. It's all about the cheese ratio, baby, and you got to use the right kind of macaroni. None of that fancy pasta, just good old elbow macaroni." I put my hand on Sienna's leg under the table, trying to give her some comfort. She smiled at me, but I could see the disappointment in her eyes. This wasn't going how I had hoped. "So, Sienna," Auntie Loretta said, her voice cutting through the dinner conversation, "how you liking your food?" "It's good, ma'am. Thank you for accommodating me." "Oh, it wasn't no trouble at all. I just steamed some vegetables and made some rice. Real simple." The emphasis on real simple wasn't lost on anyone at the table. "You know, when I was growing up, we ate what was put in front of us," Auntie Loretta continued. "We didn't have all these special diets and food restrictions. If you didn't eat what Mama cooked, you went hungry. Simple as that." "Times have changed, Auntie," I said, trying to defend Sienna. "People have different dietary needs and preferences now." "Preferences," Auntie Loretta repeated, like the word tasted bad in her mouth. "In my day, we called that being picky." "I'm not picky, ma'am," Sienna said politely but firmly. "I made a conscious choice based on my values and beliefs, just like you make choices based on your values and beliefs." Ooh. The table got quiet. You could hear a pin drop. Nobody talked back to Auntie Loretta. Nobody. Auntie Loretta put down her fork and looked at Sienna with narrowed eyes. "Is that right?" "Yes, ma'am. With all due respect, I think we can both appreciate that people make different choices, and that's okay. I respect your tradition and your food, even if I can't eat it. I'm just asking for the same respect in return." I wanted to crawl under the table and die. This was a disaster. A complete and total disaster. "Well," Auntie Loretta said slowly, "I guess we'll see about that." The rest of dinner was awkward. Real awkward. People made small talk, but the tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. Sienna finished her sad little plate, and I barely touched my food because my stomach was in knots. After dinner, while people were getting dessert, Sienna excused herself to go to the bathroom. As soon as she left, Auntie Loretta turned to me. "DeMarco, can I talk to you in the kitchen?" "Now." I followed her into the kitchen, my heart pounding, She closed the door behind us and crossed her arms. What are you thinking, bringing that girl into my house? Auntie, Sienna is a good person. She's smart, she's successful, she treats me well. I don't care if she's the Queen of England. Did you hear how she talked to me at my own table? She was just standing up for herself, Auntie. You were being kind of hard on her. Hard on her? Boy, I made her a whole separate plate. I went out of my way to accommodate her and her rabbit food diet, and she got the nerve to lecture me about respect? She wasn't lecturing you. She was just trying to... I know what she was trying to do. She was trying to make me look like the bad guy because I cook real food for my family. Well, let me tell you something, DeMarco. That girl is not right for you. You don't even know her, Auntie. I know enough. I know she thinks she's better than us because she don't eat meat. I know she's going to try to change you. And I know that if you marry her, you're never going to eat my Sunday dinners again. That's not true, isn't it? You going to sit there and tell me that girl is going to let you eat fried chicken and collard greens when y'all living together? You going to tell me she's not going to make you feel guilty every time you want a hamburger? Sienna's not like that. She's never tried to change me. Yet, she hasn't tried to change you yet. Give it time, baby. Give it time. There was a knock on the kitchen door. It was Keisha. Y'all need to come out here. Something's happening. We rushed out to the living room, where Sienna was standing in the middle of the room, her face bright red, sweating, and fanning herself frantically. Oh my God, what's wrong? I asked, rushing to her side. I don't know, she gasped. My mouth is on fire, like literally on fire. I can't feel my lips. Is my face swelling? I think my face is swelling. What did you eat? I asked, panicking. Just the salad. I had a few more bites of the salad while everyone was getting dessert. Oh my God, DeMarco, I think I'm having an allergic reaction. You're not allergic to lettuce, I said, trying to stay calm. What else was in the salad? Auntie Loretta walked out of the kitchen, wiping her hands on her apron. She didn't look surprised. She didn't look concerned. She looked like someone who knew exactly what was happening. Auntie, I said, my voice rising, what was in that salad? Just a little bit of hot sauce, she said casually. I thought it needed some flavor. Hot sauce? Auntie, you know I can't handle spicy food like that, Sienna said, her eyes watering. Why would you put hot sauce in a salad? I put hot sauce in everything, honey. It's how I cook. If you can't handle a little seasoning, maybe you need to toughen up. A little seasoning? Sienna's voice was getting higher. My entire mouth is numb. I can't feel my tongue. This isn't normal hot sauce. What kind of hot sauce was it? Auntie Loretta shrugged. Just my special blend. Got some ghost peppers, some Carolina Reapers, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Carolina Reapers? I shouted. Auntie, those are like the hottest peppers in the world. Why would you put those in her food? I told you. I was testing her. Testing her? Testing her for what? To see if she was tough enough to be part of this family. If she can't handle a little heat, she can't handle us. The room erupted. Everybody started talking at once. Auntie, that's crazy, Keisha said. Man, Carolina Reapers? That's foul, Jamal added. Loretta, you can't be putting that kind of heat in people's food without telling them, Uncle Raymond said. But Auntie Loretta just stood there, arms crossed, unapologetic. Sienna was breathing hard, tears streaming down her face, partly from the pain and partly from anger. You did this on purpose. You deliberately put something in my food to hurt me. I didn't hurt you. I just gave you a little test. That's not a test. That's assault. That Sienna stopped and grabbed her stomach. Oh no, I think I'm going to be sick. She ran to the bathroom and I chased after her. I held her hair back while she threw up, feeling absolutely terrible. This was my fault. I should have known better. I should have warned her more explicitly about Auntie Loretta. I should have done something. When she finally stopped, she sat on the bathroom floor, her back against the wall, looking exhausted and defeated. I am so sorry, I said, sitting down next to her. I had no idea she would do something like this. Your aunt hates me. She doesn't hate you. She's just very protective and set in her ways. DeMarco, she literally poisoned my food. She put ghost peppers in my salad. This isn't about being protective. She was trying to hurt me, or at least humiliate me. I know, and it's not okay. I'm going to talk to her. No, I'll talk to her. Sienna stood up, washed her face, straightened her dress, and walked back out to the living room with her head held high. I followed behind her, terrified of what was about to happen. Auntie Loretta was back in the kitchen, calmly cutting the peach cobbler like nothing had happened. Sienna walked right up to her. "Mrs. Loretta, can we talk?" "Just the two of us?" Auntie Loretta looked at her for a long moment, then nodded. "Kitchen, let's go." I started to follow, but Sienna held up her hand. "DeMarco, I need to do this alone." They went into the kitchen and closed the door. The rest of us stood in the living room, straining to hear what was being said. We couldn't make out the words, but we could hear the tones. Sienna's voice was firm but not angry. Auntie Loretta's voice was defensive at first, then softer. They were in there for 20 minutes. 20 of the longest minutes of my life. Jamal kept trying to listen at the door, but Keisha pulled him back. Uncle Raymond just shook his head and mumbled something about women and drama. Finally, the kitchen door opened. Sienna walked out first, followed by Auntie Loretta. They both looked calm. Too calm, like they had just negotiated a peace treaty or planned a murder. You couldn't tell which. "DeMarco," Sienna said, "can we go? I think I need to go home and rest." "Of course. Yeah, let's go." I said goodbye to everyone, gave Auntie Loretta a confused look, and walked Sienna out to the car. The whole drive back to her place, she was quiet. Not angry, quiet. Thoughtful quiet. "Are you going to tell me what happened in there?" I finally asked. "I had a conversation with your aunt. A real conversation. And I understand her a lot better now. She's not a bad person, DeMarco. She's just scared." "Scared?" "Auntie Loretta's not scared of anything. She's scared of losing you. She's scared that I'm going to take you away from your family and your traditions. She's scared that everything she taught you, everything she passed down to you, is going to disappear." "She told you that?" "Not in those exact words, but yeah, that's what it was all about. The hot sauce thing was wrong, really wrong, and I told her that. But I also told her that I'm not trying to change you or take you away from your family. I'm trying to build a life with you that respects both of our values." "What did she say?" "She cried." Auntie Loretta cried? "Yeah. And then we talked about her life, about raising her kids alone, about how Sunday dinners were the one thing that kept the family together. She told me about your mom, how she passed when you were young, and how she tried to fill that role for you. She's been protecting you your whole life, DeMarco. She doesn't know how to stop." I pulled over to the side of the road because my eyes were getting blurry. I never knew Auntie Loretta talked about my mom. She never brought her up around me. "What else did she say?" "She said she was sorry. Not for the hot sauce, at first, but eventually she admitted that was too far. She said she wanted to see if I would fight back or just leave. She was testing me, like she said, but not the way I thought. She wanted to see if I cared enough about you to stand up to her. That's twisted." "It is. But it's also kind of sweet in a messed up way. She just wants to make sure you're with someone strong, someone who won't let you get walked over, someone who loves you enough to fight for you." And I passed. Apparently. We sat there for a minute, and then Sienna started laughing. A real, deep belly laugh. "What's so funny? Your family is insane. Like, clinically insane. But I kind of love them." I started laughing too, and we sat there on the side of the road, laughing like idiots. But the story doesn't end there. Oh no. Because 3 days later, I got a call from Auntie Loretta. "DeMarco, you and Sienna need to come over this Saturday." "Auntie, I don't think that's a good idea. She's still recovering from last Sunday." "Boy, don't argue with me. Just bring her. I have something I want to give her." Saturday came, and Sienna was nervous again. What if she tries to poison me again? What if this is round 2 of testing? I'll taste everything first, I promise. We showed up at Auntie Loretta's house around noon. She greeted us at the door with an actual smile. A real one this time. Come in. I've been cooking." We walked into the kitchen, and I couldn't believe what I saw. The counter was covered with food, but not Auntie Loretta's usual spread. This was all vegan food. Jackfruit pulled pork sandwiches, cashew mac and cheese, roasted vegetables, quinoa salad with a tahini dressing, black bean burgers, even vegan peach cobbler made with coconut oil instead of butter. "Auntie, what is all this?" This is me apologizing properly. "Sienna, baby, come here." Sienna walked over cautiously, and Auntie Loretta pulled her into a hug. A real, warm, grandma-type hug. I am sorry for what I did last Sunday. That was wrong. That was mean. And that was not the Christian woman I'm supposed to be. I let my fear and my stubbornness get the best of me, and I hurt you. Can you forgive me? Sienna was crying. Yes, ma'am, of course. Good. Now, I spent the last 3 days learning how to cook vegan food. I watched YouTube videos. I joined some Facebook groups. I even went to that fancy grocery store downtown that sells all the weird stuff. And I made all this food for you. I want you to teach me how you eat so that when you come to Sunday dinners, you're not eating plain rice and sad broccoli. Mrs. Loretta, you didn't have to do all this. Yes, I did. Because if you're going to be part of this family and something tells me you are, then I need to make sure you have a seat at my table, a real seat, with real food that you can actually eat. We sat down and Auntie Loretta served us. She had even made labels for everything so we knew exactly what was in each dish. The jackfruit pulled pork was actually incredible. The cashew mac and cheese was creamy and rich. The black bean burgers were perfectly seasoned. Auntie, this is really good, I said, genuinely impressed. Don't sound so surprised, boy. I can cook anything if I put my mind to it. Now, Sienna, you gotta be honest with me. How is it? Because these YouTube people make it look easy, but I don't know if I did it right. Sienna took a bite of the mac and cheese and closed her eyes. Mrs. Loretta, this is delicious. Like, genuinely delicious. You really made all of this? Every bit of it. And I want you to know something. I'm not going to pretend I understand why you eat this way. I probably never will, but I respect it. And more importantly, I respect you. You stood up to me, which not many people do. You love my nephew, which I can see clear as day, and you didn't run away when things got hard. That tells me everything I need to know about your character. Thank you, ma'am. That means a lot. And another thing, I talked to my prayer group about what I did, and they read me for filth. Especially Sister Patricia. She said I was acting like a fool and that I needed to get right with God and with you. So here I am, getting right. We spent the rest of the afternoon eating and talking. Auntie Loretta asked Sienna about her business, her family, her life. Real questions. Interested questions. Not the interrogation from last Sunday. And Sienna asked Auntie Loretta about her recipes, her kids, her life. They were actually bonding, actually connecting. At one point, Auntie Loretta pulled out an old photo album. DeMarco, I want to show Sienna some pictures of your mama. My heart stopped. Auntie Loretta never showed people pictures of my mom. That was her private grief, her private memories. She opened the album to a picture of my mother at a family cookout, laughing with a plate of food in her hand. This is Denise, DeMarco's mama. She was my baby sister, and she was the light of my life. When she passed, I promised her I would look after DeMarco like he was my own. And I have. Maybe too much sometimes. She was beautiful, Sienna said, looking at the photo. She was, and she was kind, and she was strong. You remind me of her a little bit. That's probably why I was so hard on you. I wanted to make sure you were worthy of my boy. And you are. You really are. I was full on crying now. Couldn't even hide it. Jamal would have roasted me for a month if he saw me. But I didn't care. Thank you, Auntie. I managed to choke out. Don't thank me yet. Because I have one more thing to give you. She went to the closet and pulled out a small box. Inside was a ring. A beautiful vintage ring with a small diamond. This was your mama's engagement ring. Your daddy gave it to her when he proposed. After they both passed, I kept it safe, waiting for the right time. DeMarco, I think you know what you need to do. I looked at Sienna, who was staring at the ring with wide eyes. Auntie, I can't. Not right now. We've only been together 6 months. Boy, when you know, you know. And I can see it in your eyes every time you look at that girl. You're in love. Real love. The kind that lasts. Don't let this pass you by because you're scared or because you think you need more time. Life is short. Trust me on that. Sienna grabbed my hand. DeMarco, your aunt is right. About a lot of things. But she's especially right about this. I love you. I have loved you since that night at the networking event when you asked me what a chickpea puff was. I love your laugh, your kindness, your loyalty to your family. I love that you tried cashew cheese even though it scared you. I love that you hold my hand when I'm nervous. I love everything about you. Sienna, and if you're asking, the answer is yes, but only if you're ready. Only if this is what you really want. Because I'm not going anywhere. Whether it's today or a year from now or 5 years from now, I'm here. I'm all in. I looked at Auntie Loretta, who was smiling through tears. I looked at the ring. I looked at Sienna. Okay, this is not how I planned this. At all. I was going to take you to that fancy restaurant downtown, the one with the tasting menu. I was going to wait until dessert, and DeMarco, just ask the girl, Auntie Loretta interrupted. I got down on one knee right there in Auntie Loretta's kitchen, holding my mother's engagement ring. Sienna, will you marry me? Will you join this crazy, loud, loving, sometimes poisoning your food family? Will you let me spend the rest of my life making you happy? Yes. Oh my God, yes. I put the ring on her finger, and we kissed, while Auntie Loretta clapped and cried and praised Jesus. All right, she said, wiping her eyes. Enough of this mushy stuff. We got planning to do. We need to set a date. We need to figure out the menu. We need to... Auntie, I said, still holding Sienna. Can we just enjoy this moment for a minute? Fine. Enjoy your moment. But then we got work to do. Because if you think I'm letting some basic caterer handle the food at my nephew's wedding, you got another think coming. We doing this right. With love, with family, and with options for the vegan folks. Sienna laughed. Deal. But, Mrs. Loretta, can I make one request? What's that, baby? No ghost peppers. At the wedding or ever again. Deal. I promise. From now on, I test you with my love, not my hot sauce. We all hugged, and for the first time in weeks, everything felt right. Everything felt complete. The next Sunday, we had another family dinner. But this time, half the table was vegan options that Auntie Loretta had made, and the other half was her traditional spread. And everyone, meat eaters and vegans alike, tried everything. Jamal even admitted that the jackfruit tacos weren't terrible. Coming from him, that was basically a Michelin star review. Uncle Raymond pulled me aside during dessert. You know, I didn't think it would work. I thought your auntie was going to run that girl off for good, but I was wrong. That Sienna, she's tough. She's got backbone, and your auntie respects backbone. I know, Uncle Raymond. I got lucky. Nah, son, you both got lucky. You found someone who loves you enough to fight for you, and she found someone who loves her enough to stand up for her. That's rare. That's special. Don't mess it up. I won't, I promise. 6 months later, we got married in Auntie Loretta's backyard. She insisted, said it needed to be at home, with family, where love lives. We had a mixed menu, traditional soul food and vegan options, side by side. We had my cousin Jamal as the DJ, playing everything from Kirk Franklin to Megan Thee Stallion. We had Uncle Raymond officiating because he got ordained online specifically for this occasion. We had my sister Keisha as the maid of honor and Sienna's best friend Nicole as a bridesmaid. But the most important moment came during the reception. Auntie Loretta stood up to give a toast. I want to say something to everyone here today. When DeMarco first told me about Sienna, I was resistant. I was stubborn. I was wrong. I let my own fears and my own pride get in the way of seeing what was right in front of me. A beautiful, strong, intelligent woman who loves my nephew with her whole heart. And I tested her. Boy, did I test her. I put ghost peppers in her food, people. Ghost peppers. Everyone laughed. But you know what Sienna did? She didn't run away. She didn't cuss me out, even though she had every right to. She came back. She talked to me. She listened to my fears and my stories. And then she taught me something I needed to learn. That love isn't about everyone being the same. Love is about respecting differences. Love is about making room at the table for everyone, no matter what they eat or what they believe. Love is about expansion, not exclusion. She raised her glass, filled with sparkling cider. So here's to DeMarco and Sienna. May your love continue to grow. May your table always have room for one more. May you always communicate even when it's hard. And may you never, ever let someone put ghost peppers in your food without your permission. To the bride and groom. To the bride and groom, everyone echoed. Sienna and I danced our first dance to Luther Vandross, and I held her close, thinking about how close I had come to losing her. how one Sunday dinner had almost destroyed everything. But instead, it had become the foundation of something stronger. "What are you thinking about?" Sienna whispered. "I'm thinking about how lucky I am, and how crazy my family is, and how perfectly you fit into all of this chaos. You know what the funny thing is? I wouldn't change any of it, not even the ghost peppers, because it taught me something important." "What's that?" "That real love is worth fighting for. That family is messy and complicated, and sometimes they literally poison your food. But at the end of the day, when you find people who truly care about you, who want the best for you, who will learn and grow and change for you, you hold on to them. You fight for them. You make room for them at your table. That's beautiful, baby. Also very dramatic, but beautiful. I learned it from your family. Y'all are the most dramatic people I've ever met, and yet you married me anyway. And yet I married you anyway." Later that night, after all the guests had left and we were cleaning up, Auntie Loretta pulled me aside one more time. "DeMarco, baby, I want you to know something. Your mama would be so proud of you, not just because you found a good woman and got married, but because you stood up for what you believed in. You defended Sienna even when it meant going against me. That takes courage, that takes strength, and that's exactly what your mama would have wanted for you. Thank you, Auntie, for everything. For raising me, for teaching me, for eventually accepting Sienna, for the ghost peppers. Boy, don't push it. I said I was sorry about those peppers. I know, but in a weird way, I'm grateful for them too, because they forced us to have real conversations, real honesty, and that's what relationships need. Not just the easy, comfortable stuff, but the hard, uncomfortable, ghost pepper level conversations. When did you get so wise? I learned from the best." She hugged me tight, and I felt like that little kid again, the one who had lost his mama too soon, the one who had been so lucky to have an aunt who loved him like her own. 3 years later, Sienna and I had our first child, a beautiful baby girl we named Denise after my mother. The first time we brought her to Sunday dinner, Auntie Loretta cried for 20 minutes straight. Then she pulled out her phone and showed me all the vegan baby food recipes she had been researching. "I'm ready this time," she said. "No plain rice and sad broccoli for my great niece. She's getting the full Auntie Loretta experience, plant-based edition. Auntie, she's only 3 months old. She's not eating solid food yet." "I know that, boy. I'm planning ahead. I got recipes for vegan sweet potato puree, vegan banana oat cookies, vegan everything. This baby is going to grow up with the best of both worlds. Your mama's values and my cooking skills." And she did. Little Denise grew up eating Auntie Loretta's famous vegan mac and cheese right alongside her traditional peach cobbler, made specially without dairy. She grew up knowing that family dinners were sacred, that food was love, that differences were something to celebrate, not fear, and that sometimes the people who test you the hardest are the ones who end up loving you the most. Years later, when Denise asked me about how I met her mother, I told her the whole story. The networking event, the falling in love, the disastrous first Sunday dinner, the ghost peppers, the tears, the reconciliation, and the wedding. "So great Auntie Loretta really put super hot peppers in Mommy's food?" she asked, her eyes wide. "She really did. And Mommy still married you?" "She really did." "Why?" "Because real love isn't about everything being perfect. Real love is about showing up even when things are hard. It's about forgiveness. It's about growth. It's about making room at the table for people who are different from you. And it's about family. Not just the one you're born into, but the one you choose and the one that chooses you back." "That's a good story, Daddy." "It is, baby girl. It really is. And that's the truth. Because at the end of the day, family is complicated. Love is messy. And sometimes your aunt will put ghost peppers in your girlfriend's food to test her character. But if you can get through that, if you can communicate honestly, if you can forgive and grow and learn together, then you can get through anything. Auntie Loretta taught me a lot of things over the years. She taught me how to tie a tie. She taught me how to change a tire. She taught me how to be a man when my father wasn't around. But the most important thing she taught me was this: love is a verb. Love is action. Love is showing up. Love is learning to cook vegan mac and cheese even when you've spent 63 years perfecting the dairy-based version. Love is admitting when you're wrong. Love is making room at the table. And maybe, just maybe, love is also knowing when to hold back on the Carolina Reapers. The moral of the story? Listen, family is going to family. They're going to test you, chalenge you, and sometimes straight up assault you with hot sauce. But if they're doing it from a place of love, from a place of protection, from a place of wanting the best for you, then that's worth something. That's worth fighting through the discomfort, the arguments, and yes, even the ghost peppers. Because the people who love you most are often the ones who push back the hardest. Not because they don't want you to be happy, but because they want to make sure your happiness is real, that it's solid, that it's built to last. They want to know that the person you're bringing into the family is strong enough to weather the storms, brave enough to stand up for themselves, and loving enough to see past the test to the fear underneath. Auntie Loretta was scared of losing me, scared of change, scared that I would forget where I came from and what mattered. And instead of just saying that, because vulnerability is hard, especially when you've spent your whole life being the strong one, she put ghost peppers in my girlfriend's salad. Was it right? No. Was it healthy? Absolutely not. Should anyone ever do that? Please don't. But underneath the dysfunction, underneath the drama, underneath the literal food poisoning, there was love. Real, fierce, protective, generational love. The kind of love that raises other people's children as your own. The kind of love that cooks for 30 people every single Sunday for 40 years. The kind of love that watches YouTube videos at 63 years old to learn how to cook vegan food because your nephew's girlfriend doesn't eat meat. That's the kind of love that changes you. That's the kind of love that saves you. That's the kind of love that builds legacies. So if your family is testing your partner, talk to them. Figure out what they're really scared of. Address those fears head on. Create space for honest conversations. And if your partner's family is testing you, stand your ground. Show them who you are. Don't let them push you out, but don't let them walk all over you either. Find that balance between respect and self-respect. And for the love of everything holy, check your food before you eat it at family dinners, especially if Auntie made a special plate just for you, because family is forever. Love is work. And sometimes the hottest peppers make the sweetest stories. That's it. That's the whole truth. No cap. And yeah, Sienna and I are still together. Still happy, still making it work. We have 3 kids now, all of them growing up with Auntie Loretta's Sunday dinners, eating both the vegan and traditional options, learning that difference is beautiful, and love is limitless, and family is everything. Auntie Loretta is 73 now, still cooking every Sunday, still running the family with an iron fist and a soft heart. She and Sienna talk on the phone 3 times a week. They've started a side business together, a line of vegan soul food sauces and seasonings. Loretta's Love is the brand name. They sell them at farmers markets and online. The tagline? All the flavor, none of the ghost peppers, we promise. It's been a journey. A wild, spicy, sometimes painful, always beautiful journey. And I wouldn't trade a single moment of it, not even the ghost peppers, because those ghost peppers led to real conversations. Real growth, real love. And that's what life is all about. Taking the heat, processing the pain, learning the lessons, and coming out stronger on the other side. Together, always together. So here's to Auntie Loretta, here's to Sienna, here's to family dinners and difficult conversations and the courage to stand up for yourself and the wisdom to admit when you're wrong and the grace to forgive when someone hurts you and the strength to keep showing up, even when it's hard. Here's to love in all its messy, complicated, ghost pepper infused glory. And here's to the lesson that brought us all together. Real love doesn't require you to change who you are. Real love makes room for who you are. Real love learns your language. Real love cooks your food. Real love sees your value. Real love fights for you, even when that fight is against itself. That's the truth. That's the whole truth. And that's a truth worth celebrating at every Sunday dinner for the rest of our lives. Amen. Ash. And pass the vegan mac and cheese. Because Auntie Loretta didn't just learn to make it, she perfected it. And that, my friends, is what real love looks like. Like this video if it touched something in you. Subscribe if you want to hear more stories about what it means to be human, to be family, and to choose love even when it's complicated. I'll see you next time.